Banana and Bears Rugby Pod.
There we go, Joe McCarthy. Joe McCarthy. Welcome everybody to another episode of Banana and Bear Rugby Pod. I'm looking at Joe McCarthy. I'm not looking at Joe McCarthy across the way. It's once again Anna decides to change her name every week, just for my. Nobody else gets to enjoy this, but it's Joe McCarthy is trying to join the meeting. I would
It's
give
only for every week, like 1 week, you're going to answer, and it's actually going to be the person whose name it is.
class,
It's just
class.
gonna
You mean I get to
because
talk to Anna K plus?
well,
Well,
well, I don't know if you'll be that lucky.
so I'm. Would you ever consider a mullet? Just you've seen me with one, you know they're pretty awesome.
I had a mullet when I was younger. My mother used to cut my hair. She gave me a mullet. Let me find a picture and share it
Oh, we
on
have
the
to.
listeners. Genuinely.
I'll cut the two together of me with a mullet and just go. This is where it all started. Never mind your youngsters nowadays going around with their mullets. You're like, well, for me, you're 3 years behind the ball, and for Anna, God knows, back to when she was rocking a mullet. Actually, when mullets were first like MacGyver and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
We both had very interesting weekends. We were communicating a lot via voice notes back and forth. Before we get into the rugby, I think I'm kind of I think I've sidestepped some of this dose to everybody else. You've got something going on over there. We don't fully know. So if I'm a bit groggy into the microphone, I apologize. The I was telling you, I was going to miss all my rugby. Caught up on it yesterday. Tonight being Tuesday as we record this, and the Shrove Tuesday, actually, yeah. Are you going to give up Aunt Nana for Lent?
Hang on. It's tomorrow Ash Wednesday.
Yeah,
What? No, it's
yeah.
not.
I swear to God it is. We're St.
I
Bridget's
didn't have
Day.
any. I didn't have any pancakes.
You had no pancakes today. Ah, Anna.
Hang on. Are
I
you
s-
sure?
110%. The shops here are full of pancakes and Nutella and all sorts. I swear.
So someone in France told me that yes, we celebrate Pancake Tuesday. So I was like, oh great, I'll be aware of it so when it comes around.
No,
Um,
they've Le Crepes, as you told me about. That's all they have. All skinny, all yolks. No, you need to get on. You look. You can do it in posthumously. You can do it tomorrow. Get your
yeah.
pancakes on, and then you need to give up something. I'm going to give up something. I'm going to give up. I had an awful love affair with the. You sent me over the edge with the squishies or the squashies or whatever they're called.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say I've eaten 16 bags since I last saw you. So I'm not joking with you. I was off them. I was off the crack that are drumstick squashies. Anna gave me a present of them at Christmas and got me right back on. I'm
Oh
Jesus,
no.
so I'm on the wagon of all sweeties, and I've got a lot of driving coming up, so that's a tough thing for me to do. Sitting in the car by yourself for hours with no sweeties.
Yeah. You're gonna have to get some fruit. I know it's not the same. I know. But just something to like move your teeth
Yes,
around. And yeah, that's hard. I know the feeling, long hours on the road, yeah, with an old snack.
Lord, fruit. Right, I'll keep you updated on that one.
A lot of potatoes.
No, 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 no goodies. No, I'm coming off
Um,
all goodies now for 40 days. I'm not overly religious, but I just think it's a good excuse
yes.
to come off goodies. Um,
Yeah. Fair
I'll
play.
probably just take up heroin in between just to keep myself, you know,
Taking over
ticking over.
in a
Friday
very
night,
spiritual way.
Friday night before we get into the rugby and what Anna was up to and all the different we knew she was going to it. I had a very different Friday night than would have normally have expected. I was the host of a singles night in Limerick.
Yeah.
And I thought, to be honest with you, when I saw the time clicking around, I went, lads, there'll be nobody at this. Because we were literally in Limerick, the home of rugby, the Kilmurray Lodge downstairs in Cask, and upstairs was rammed with people watching the match and getting ready
Hmm.
for the match. Well, I couldn't have been more wrong. 300 souls poured through that door in the space of about 25 minutes.
Go
Oh,
on. I want to
my-
hear all their names.
everyone. Do you know what it was? It was an unbelievable, uh, interesting, like analysis, and like I need to be writing a new show, and like I said, I'm not going to be writing completely about these people, but I need to meet new people and new people in situations, right? I need to write a new show for later in the year. Well,
Mhm.
Jesus, do you know
You
what?
found them.
I found them. I've such a cross section of society. You wouldn't find it anywhere in it. All with one goal, meeting somebody. You never go anywhere
Yeah.
typically where there's just, unless it's a match, I suppose. But this was just one goal of putting themselves out there. And some people you're kind of going, God, I hope. At first, I was like, for everybody, going, Jesus Christ, I hope you all meet somebody, lads. I hope you. And I'm walking through the place because I was kind of up on stage and I was chatting with people, having a bit of crack. But then I had to give them the layout of the night and how it was going to go and all the rest of it. And
You
a
showed
lot
them
of
where
people,
the fire exits were.
not at all, I didn't do any of that shit. But just how there was going to be speed dating in the back bar. So every 2 minutes you move on, you chat to somebody new or whatever. Well, that could have been the show in itself. Everybody wanted to go speed dating. And these are people from their early 20s up to probably their mid 50s nearly. There was every walk of life in there. I mean, every walk of, it was like the Truman Show. Like they went and found a section of everybody. And every so often, what I noticed was the men were unbelievably polite to every other man and every woman, to me, unbelievable. And most of the women were, but there was enclaves. No, we'll call them covens of some of these women that were so aggressive and aggressively hunting a man for all the wrong reasons. You're like, Jesus Christ,
What?
girls. Oh my God. You're like, girls, you're going to be single forever. If you ain't putting your best show on. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, shite.
Oh,
Oh no,
jeez.
wait, what were they doing?
Just being like, I got collared. And when I say got collared, one woman literally caught me by the fucking collar and dragged
They
me
were
over to,
throwing out their fishing nets like,
and I was clearly the fucking host. I had the coolest jacket in the room, to be honest. And, and they gave me a badge even saying wingman or something on it, like, or something like that, just to
oh,
note that I definitely wasn't on the pull in this place, right? Because some people, not all 300 may have noticed that I was the guy that was on the mic for 10 minutes beforehand. This
oh,
woman collared me.
hilarious.
She goes, I follow you on Instagram. I went, oh, great, great. Anyway, have you been mingling? Have you met anybody? You got your eye on anybody? She goes, never mind anybody else. Sit up.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, and then pause came in from all fucking directions. I'm like, this is just inappropriate. It's like not half eight. Like, this is fucking too much. So I sidestepped out of that. Next thing, they were signing up for the blind date thing, which was
Mm.
great. It was going to be a lot of fun, and it ended up being a lot of fun. But there was there was women like formed a queue to sign up for it. The men kind of had to be coaxed by some, because there was workers there, there's people spinning around going, "Hey, do you want to come up and sign up?" And they were
Oh,
signing up
yeah.
right beside me. And this one woman came up and just jammed her thumb into my chest. Oi, I says, "Yeah, yeah. What is it?" She goes, "I want to do a little blind date." I went, "Oh, cool. Listen, the way it'll work is, you give your name." And the names will be put in a hat, and not everybody will obviously be picked. It's because it's just going to be two shows of it. And your name, Sam, the organizer, picks your name. She goes, "Why do you need my name?" I went, "Oh, Jesus." And I mean, super aggressive. And next thing I says, "Well, Sam will put it in that. Who's this woman, Sam?" I went, "Gee, oh my God. Oh my God." And I met a couple of more, like one woman as I'm walking past. Like if you're on the go, if you're on the, if you're trying to sell a car, you clean the fucking, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, you put your best, you don't let the crazy out in the first meeting. Do you know? You try and keep the fucking horns in a small bit.
Well,
And there's one,
they've obviously decided they can't do that. So they're like, well, I
yes.
better let them know.
I guess that's what I was doing. I was driving home, like my had 1,000 thoughts in my head, running all these storylines. Why would you like? Why would you enter the scenario like this? And like one woman, I remember she just stopped me aggressively, jumped out of the queue as I was walking by the queue for the speed date. She went, "Hey," I went, "Yes, well, yeah." She goes, "Anybody ever tell you?" You were the first thought into my head. Anybody ever tell you seem taller in not real life? She actually couldn't find the words. I mean, you mean on social media or something like that, as opposed to what? A fucking stamp? the Statue of Liberty. I don't. What perspective do I normally stand against? She went,
She obviously watches or used to watch our live versions of this, is what she was
yes,
referring to.
possibly. I would imagine so. And she
Yeah.
just couldn't. She could. She couldn't put it together at all. I went, no, I have. Yes, some people have said it to me. I don't know what I typically stand in front of that makes people. I says, good friend of mine, Anna. I said, she said it the first time. But I said, I don't know what I stand in front of that typically makes. Do I stand in front of tiny things? And this was but she aggressively, and I looked down, she still had her fist with a fist of my shirt. I'm like, this isn't even 9 o'clock, girls. Can we talk?
It's
Can we?
like it's like Owen McLove when Owen McLove, all the biddies come and try
I,
and arrest Owen McLove. You're like Owen McLove and all the people.
I love my mammy. Yeah, one of them baked me a cake with a jumper in it. It was fucking incredible. But
Yes, that's what you want.
it was, and when we did the blind date, the cats that were cool, male and female, they looked out huge. Just all they had to be was play it cool. Male and female, and that was the really interesting thing. Anybody who was playing it cool, and not in a like, I don't need a man. We're all at the fucking singles thing,
Yeah,
It was people that just played it like, hey, this is a good crack, and they all seemed to have, meet somebody. But any of the crazies, male or female, it was like, all right,
yeah. Well, that's
like.
usually how it works, isn't it?
But it was amazing to see that the entire room of 300 people were all singles. It was for various different reasons, but some had a Venn diagram that crossed over into crazy, and there was maybe a pocket of about 10% that were in that crazy bracket, and you're like,
Yeah.
Jesus. And the worst thing they did was they'd surrounded themselves with, a fucking, they were the nucleus for a bunch of other crazies who all went, fucking men. Like one woman screamed. She took the microphone. She wasn't even supposed to be picked. She wasn't the woman I picked or got picked out of the hat. She just pushed the woman who had been picked to come up and do blind date. It came up.
Oh,
She went, I'm doing it. I went, all right, you're doing it. Fine.
oh, Jesus Christ.
And she just started screaming that she needed a man to bring turf in for her. I went, okay, okay. Um,
Ah, girl, you can learn to do that yourself.
but
Hilarious,
it
though.
was, yeah, I swear to God, I was in stitches because this was just a social study that you never get the chance to do. Like,
Yeah.
but to
Class.
all, and I say that was maybe 10%, but there was 90% of people were absolutely lovely. They were lovely and just, they all kind of had the kind of shrug look, like, sure, we're here. Hopefully it goes well, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of had that, but there was a couple of Karens, and I'm sure the male equivalent were there as well, whatever I don't know what the Ken, whatever the male equivalent is, but oh
No.
Jesus, it was just an eye opener. I was like, wow, wow. But I tell you, the singles game is where it's at. They have another one coming up next month, and they're going to run a monthly one now of these
Oh,
things.
are you? That's
Uh,
class.
yeah, but it really, you could see people were genuinely hitting it off. They had very fun, light-hearted kind of ways of meeting each other. Like you get a card when you go through the door, and it's got a cartoon character, and you have to find the, I suppose the counterpart to that. So if you got Minnie
Oh,
Mouse,
yeah.
you were to find Mickey Mouse, and then you meet up and go, hey, and then you go up to spin a wheel, and you either get a free drink or something else from the spinning of the wheel if you match. And it made for a very, very interesting evening. But of course, needless to say, my phone was leaping in my pocket with not only updates of the score, and I'm like, oh Jesus, and then voice notes from Anna. This isn't for you now. This is so that I'll remember it.
Oh, yeah. Like, no need to listen to these. This is just where I can write my stories down.
Of course, I was listening to it, and then Saturday, then I tipped at 1 o'clock, maybe one half one. I shot up. I drove a very long distance to Derry. Did a mega gig in the Millennium Forum with Neil Delamere, and had decided not to stay because I was like, I have enough energy in me, and I came back down the road. It was it
Yeah.
was a marvelous gig, and to the woman in the front row that I was chatting to, and she was so polite. Wasn't chatting to her, but I was referencing her every so often. She seemed to be nodding, and her husband was nodding, and they were so nice, and they were roaring laughing. I was referring things to her all the time. Turns out she's been to a few of Neil's gigs, and she's more or less blind. I don't know. And Neil and herself have a thing where she gives him free rein to rip her apart, like with hilarity, But I didn't. I mistook her just kind of nodding away politely, as as acknowledgement of the things I was saying to her. But I'm not fully sure if that lady could see me at all. It was only when afterwards, when I watched him do his first 10 minutes, I went, oh, ha ha. The one woman I picked couldn't actually see me. That's very interesting. So
But but she had to take shit from you and then shit from him as well.
I didn't give her any shit. No, no,
Oh, I thought you
I
were giving her
wasn't.
shit.
When you're doing opening, you don't do any crowd work really. Like it was just kind of going,
Okay.
you know what I'm talking about, am I right? Kind of one of those moments.
Yeah.
And I think she just kind of sensed I was talking to her direction, and she was just I think she was just nodding away to be polite, but I don't fully think she could see me at all, because when Delamere went out and went, it's my friend, fucking you blind as fuck. She's like, and he go, if you think about being mean, she emailed me last year's show to tell her to rip into her, which I did, and I told her, you're fucking blind and you got the front row. There's a fella down the back with bad hearing, and he'd fucking love your seat. What are you fucking doing? And she loves that. She loved it. But it was then I kind of went, oh, from the wings. I'm like, so that was the woman I was, because she just seemed like such a happy, polite person. I was directing a lot of stuff at her. Turns out it was she couldn't see a fucking thing that I was that I was referencing. But I did enjoy um getting a strange phone call halfway down the road, coming out of Dungannon, near Dungannon, or passing Armagh. The phone started ringing. I'm like, what the fuck? Anna's ringing me. Jesus, I hope she's all right. Because I'm figuring she's locked herself out. Her coat has
Oh,
been
God.
robbed. She's after eating a fucking dirty sardine. Something's after fucking happening, this woman. Because why would she be ringing me at this hour of the night?
Could you hear
Of
anything?
course I could. I could hear. At first you kind of went, Tom. And I, for a good 30 seconds, going, Anna, Anna. And all I could hear is the sound of a delicious sounding bar and clanky clankies and lads going, so he's not there at all, or some shit. Some lads were going. So, so that was my weekend of missing rugby, which I caught up on yesterday. But because we had a bank holiday here for anybody listen outside of Irlanda, we had a
Oh
bank
yeah,
holiday
you
yesterday. So
bastard.
I
You
know,
bank
but we
holiday and Pancake Tuesday.
we deserve it. I was out clipping fucking rushes yesterday. We deserve it. We are a fucking somewhat Catholic nation that we got it for COVID. We got St. Bridget gave us a day. She gave us a day, and fair play to her. God bless her. And we're hanging on to it. It was only supposed to be for COVID, but we're hanging on to it.
Oh,
So
fucking hang on to
we
it.
deserve having it. So I caught up my rugby then. But let's rewind to you on Friday.
Um, yes, we'll get to the phone call, midnight,
Yeah.
middle of the night phone call. Um, I was in Lyon for St. Bridget's Day, which was fantastic, brilliant event. Lyon's very cool city. Um, was presenting on women's sports and sharing ideas and had a roundtable discussion, and yeah, it was fantastic. Had a great time. I was lucky enough then just to be kind of not so far from Lyon. Was only took an hour, less than 2 hours on the TGV, down the road to Marseille, and there was loads of tickets flying around. I actually met, this is gas, in Lyon. There's a big Irish community there, and there was an Irish night. People actually, how many people were there? Just about 10 people there. They got together in a pub uh, to speak Irish.
Oi.
So I actually went along to that. I was at it was really cool. I went to watch Olympique Lyonnais play, which is like the women's team are like the champions of Europe, like,
Ah,
which was very cool. In that the stadium in Lyon, well, their men's team plays there, a huge stadium. I think it's quite well known. But met some people at that. They were like, "Oh, we're going into the Irish night. Come on in. We'll chat a bit of Irish." And I was like, "Shit!" And I was fucking dreaming in Irish then, and I was supposed to be doing my presentation the following day in fucking
eh,
French. So I was like, "Oh no, this was a terrible idea."
he
But
had fucking Gaelga, and you went, Jesus Christ, listen to this woman.
Leon,
That's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah, incredible. So that was I had a great experience there. Lovely, lovely time. Went down to Marseille then, and sorry, what I was going to say was load of people were offering me tickets. I put up my story last week. I was looking for two, but in the end, I only needed one. So I was like, do you know what, one ticket. I was like, I'll be able to get one ticket easy enough, and I'll get it when I'm down there because then it gives me an excuse to like talk to people.
Yes.
And connect with people. Like, hi lads, has anyone got, have you got any tickets, or kind of connect with people, So I didn't want to get in
Jesus, we
advance.
could have done with you at the singles night. For fuck's sake, teaching people to go
Oh,
around
yeah.
how to connect with people.
Oh, sure. Sign me up. Yeah, I know. That's I literally, people were like, I'll get your ticket then. I was like, no, it's grand. I'll get one when I'm there because I prefer to be talking to people. Anyway, off the train into the city, I should have put on my stopwatch, and it wouldn't have taken 5 minutes for me to meet someone from Mallow who had a ticket.
Of course.
So I was actually delighted. It was, a ticket from Mallow Rugby Club, which is obviously, if people don't know, my home rugby club, home rugby club, like my first ever rugby club. So, met lads from Mallow straight in the door. Well, lads, how are you? Sit down and have a coffee. I'm actually looking for a ticket. Oh, yes, we have one. So that was that. Marseille is very cool. It's like I was talking about Toulon and the port and stuff. It's like Toulon on steroids.
Oh, go away.
Fucking massive port and like pubs all around it, and there's people singing and it's kind of quiet enough, but like a lovely setting. No, sorry, not quiet, but I don't know. It was quiet's not the right word to use, but
reserved. Was it reserved?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, well, people were excited for the match, but the thing is as well, like fucking 9 o'clock kickoff. Oh, it's so late, but you feel like around 6 or 7 o'clock. Jesus, we should be moving here, but you still have loads of time. And
a man or a woman could find themselves getting very drunk in that time, I'd say.
Absolutely. Oh,
yeah.
Jesus, yeah. I feel like people were well trained from the World Cup, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But we went to get on the metro, and I was like, shit, I don't want to arrive onto the stadium now and be hungry. So I called into McDonald's for a double cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And these two people were standing there, and they were like, "Oh, hi Anna, like we were at your talk last night in Leon."
Lads.
Lads, yeah, how are you chatting away? An Irish fella and a girl from Reunion Island, so she's a French speaker, and I was like, I'm walking up there now, I'm going to take the metro. They're like, oh, us too. So I walked away with them. About 2 seconds later, I spotted Dara Frawley, who's my old friend from Bose. He has another rugby podcast as well. I was like, well, what's the crack? Anyway, it turns out that the people I had just bumped into and Dara Frawley and his crew knew each other as well. So all of a sudden, there's a small triangle of people who didn't know each other 5 minutes ago and now have all met, and it was just hilarious.
The Pied Piper of fucking Marseille. You're just walking along and they all trotting in behind you. You're unbelievable.
Picking up like literally connections.
Fagin, that's who you're like. You're like Fagin. Just got to pick a pocket or two. Just all these stragglers just going, I'd love to be friends with her. This is class.
Only I could make money off it. Actually, speaking of, when I got there and after I had kind of linked up with the people from Mallow by chance, and went to drop my stuff off at the hotel, and I was walking around, but I was on my own, so I was like not getting too into the thing, the atmosphere just yet, because I was just on my own. I was like, you know what, I'll get a pint and I'll just sit here and watch what's going on. And I went up to the bar. It's kind of an outside bar. And I ordered a pint, and the fella next to me had just ordered a pint, a French fella. And then the barman went to give me the pint first. And the French was like, hey, that's mine. He was like, I know. He said this in French. He's like, I know she's beautiful, but that's my pint. And I was like, ha. And I said to your man then, I was like, all right, whatever. I said, can I pay for card? Can I pay with card for this pint? He was like, yes, of course. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, doesn't matter, because if I couldn't, he was going to pay for it anyway. And the fella behind the bar thought this was hilarious. And he only charged me 60 cents for the pint.
Oh, yes. Yes. One of your voice notes. Yeah. Brilliant.
I have to It was my peak of the day. I
That
was
is
fucking
that
delighted.
that is an absolute. I'd be writing that down. Going, how many times in your life will that ever happen? Never.
But I don't know. Did he do it on purpose because he enjoyed the joke, or was he laughing at the joke so he did it wrong?
He
And
forgot to.
either way, I took it and I ran and I was delighted with my 60 cent pint. I was like,
You're like,
yes.
I'll have 10 more of those exactly, please, at the same price range if you don't mind. That'd be great.
Jesus Christ. Well, rest assured that wasn't the case. Um, the metro on the way up to do you know the metros are always fucking packed, like, and it was everyone is standing on the platform, but there's only one or two people getting in each time
Yeah,
because the metros are already full. Now, I don't know if it's not my story, but this was hilarious. Um, again, platform full, can't get into the trains because they're coming and they're full and they're taking off again. So like people are starting to get a bit rowdy. Next thing, an empty one pulls up and it beeped and everything. So everyone's like, way. And then it pulls up and it's empty and everyone's like, yes, like cheering, cheering. Next thing, it doesn't actually slow down at all. And everyone's like, what? And it like drove off.
so the beep was just like, come out of my fucking way. Like, you know,
How do I obviously have better places to be, like, and
oh, not this fucking
drove off.
crowd.
And everyone started booing. Oh, it's very funny. Um, and then actually an empty one came along 2 trains later because people were like leaving the platform being like, we'll get Ubers or whatever. But sure, there was loads of time, so
I wonder would the next guy be tempted, with your friends when you're trying to get into the car when you're younger, like, and you go to open the door and they pull away a little bit. Okay? And you're like, "Ah, for fuck's sake, lads, come on. Oh, go on.
that's
No,
what it was like.
we're only
That's what
joking.
it
Go on, go on,
was
put your hand, go on, get in. You go to get in. It's like, "Oi," pull away. Oh, for fuck's sake. The metro guy totally should have done that. Just pulled away a little bit and a little bit.
He should have stopped, not opened the doors, and drove. But it was that's honestly what it was like. Oh jeez, it was hilarious. So anyway, off up to the stadium, like gorgeous stadium. The build up to the match was brilliant. Like they really, I feel like, Marseille, they don't get to host Six Nations matches often, so they were like, we're gonna make this one count. Like I just thought it was a brilliant like warm up to the match. It was very exciting. And then just Ireland, like just one thing after the other. It was just unbelievable.
I will.
Unbelievable to be there, unbelievable to um just the tries and just chatting people around. And we can talk about the actual rugby in a minute, but just in terms of like the people that were there, and I said this year around the World Cup as well, just the combo of accents
Yeah.
is is just gas. Like you can tell where people are from, obviously from, like there's a pure fucking dub behind us. It was like, come on, you cunts, come on, you cunts, like shouting at the Irish team, come on, you cunts.
The most uncouth thing to hear at a rugby match, even in Thomond. Like, you'd rarely hear, come on, ye cunts.
I know. It was like it was so lousy. It was like, would you
That's
leave
so
them alone?
aggressive.
I
That's
don't
so
know if it
aggressive.
was a term of endearment, maybe.
With an Australian accent, maybe, but like when it's a fucking hell yeah, come on, you cunts. I mean, that's
Yeah, it was very
it's a little
weird.
yeah, it's a little hard to tolerate. Like, come on, you cunts.
Um,
It's a different vibe. Come
yeah, I
on, you
can't.
cunts. If somebody,
Come
yeah,
on. But yeah, like yeah. Anyway, that was just I remarked on that year already. I think just the combo of accents like around the stadium. Like obviously it's Ireland, but it's just interesting. It's cool. It's really nice. It's really nice that we have that, and there are fans from all over. Like I had this discussion then on the Saturday. This is when you were getting on the phone call with lads that were like, I'd prefer. It was an interesting question. I'd take a Heineken Cup with Munster any day over a World Cup with Ireland.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, yeah, and I've heard people be shocked by that before. But I think people maybe, like I've said it myself, it's like, yeah, of course, because it becomes more parochial then. Like, but you'll hear even inter-county players say that, like they go, yeah, an All Ireland is great, but
County
fuck,
final.
a
But
county
it's,
final or
yeah,
to win an All Ireland club championship would outdo because it's for, literally they're playing with family members and stuff. Like I get it, I get it.
yeah, I get it. And that's, that my point was that, like, going down to Toulon and being around Munster fans was way easier and just more enjoyable than going to spend time with Irish fans, only because of the instant connection you have with the people
Yes,
around you,
it's your
or the
comfort zone.
quicker connection, should I say? And like, I wouldn't say that I would prefer, a Heineken Cup or a World Cup or things like that. But like, yeah, I get it as well. Like, I
There's
understand that.
yeah, there is a comfort, and I even found that when I moved back here, that like I don't get misinterpreted half as much when I'm ripping the piss out of when two people are talking to each other and you're just giving each other shit. That
Mm,
was misinterpreted a little bit when I lived in Dublin. For sure it was. It was like
yeah,
I had to rein it in. I had to rein it in. And I've forgotten that just people down this neck of the woods are just, they can cut you off at the knees with a comment for the crack and you can come
yeah,
back with the same thing. And it's like,
yeah.
yeah, this is liberating. This is nobody's
But it
feelings are
would
being spared.
people would apply the same to people who are from their own area as well. It's just
Of course,
it's obvious. It's a cultural thing.
for such
But
a
I
small
think
country, it's very, very, very
yeah,
interesting. Like,
well, yeah, true. Yeah, I get it. But the other thing I was saying to you was the woman behind me that kept saying, "Come on, Doris," every time Josh Van der Fleer had the ball.
the red capped fucking player, like, yeah,
Like, you could not have an easier player to spot. He's actually the easiest player to spot of all the players in the Six Nations because of his white scrum cap.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, oh my God, girl. And it wasn't just, everyone does that where you'd say it once or twice and you're like, whatever. Every time for the whole match, go on, Darius. Josh
But
Redder blew the ball. It was very funny. I actually
doesn't
picked up my phone, my voice noted you. I was like, I have to tell
Yeah,
you
it
again.
was that cracked me up straight away. I was like, great, that put me in good form now, even though I've missed the match. I mean, put me in good form. But do you know, like, what again? Talk about cultural difference. Like, she was allowed away with that. But if you, like, I talked about it at a Munster match one time, and it was a guy cheering. Oh no, it was at an Ireland match, but there was a guy clearly very, very South Dublin cheering for Rog. Come on, Rog. But some Munster fans around, and he only got 3 goals of it. And one, Munster fan turned around, it's fucking Rog, you fucking langer. You know, they've
Yeah.
caught him on it straight away, going, knock that shit off, will you? Do you know? But nobody obviously pulled that woman up. If she was in Thomond or fucking Musgrave Park, she'd be fucking eight. Come, what are you fucking doing? Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone said it to her in the end. I was tempted. Anyway, she enjoyed herself anyway, which is the most important thing.
And then
Uh,
you found yourself you gave me a running thing on, you found yourself at obviously La
so
Rochelle match.
yeah,
But
there
your
was
takeaway from that was sending me a picture at the La Rochelle, black and gold everywhere of La Rochelle fans, and there's stuck in the middle of one of the stands were two lads in like Bank of Ireland circa 2002 jersey. It's just sitting there, pure fucking retro.
there's actually three of them. I felt bad because I put them on my story. And I said I just looked around and was like, we obviously we sit in the same spot every week in the stadium, and I just, it's really nice, and I just kind of just the three red jerseys caught my eye. Says La Rochelle versus Montpellier, absolutely shite match. It was just there. It wasn't high scoring enough, and La Rochelle won. Thankfully, Montpellier bottom of the league, but I was just looking around. And I was like, Jesus! Like, these fuckers thought I spotted a Munster jersey, and your man was sitting with his like hand turned in and his elbow up.
You
And
described his lean. You described his lean. That is the most country. Oh Jesus, that's brilliant. Like a fellow watching the
yeah,
fucking racing in the down the pub.
yeah, but like
Like,
shouting at the ref. But there were three of them. But I felt bad because on my story I called them owl fellas because I said, Jesus Christ, if there's something certain, it's death taxes and owl fellas in Munster jerseys, in vintage Munster jerseys, drinking pints, like just in La Rochelle. Like, what are you at, lads? And anyway, later on, I went for a pint, and I had my back to the door, and the door opened. I could hear the lads at the bar be like, "Oh, here they are now." And in walked the three lads. Now I felt bad because I had called them out fellas, but they were wearing hats when I
All
saw
right.
them from afar. So when I saw them up close and they weren't wearing hats, I was like, "Oh, geez, you're not actually that old." But they walked in. I was like, "Lads, I have to tell you. First of all, you're on my story, okay? And I'll show it to you. It's nothing bad, but can I just do an impression of you?" And they were like, "What? What are you talking about?" I was like, "I'm just going to do an impression of your friend here. I just spotted him in the stadium." And I did the sit with the arm up, and they were like, "Oh, Jesus Christ." I showed them my story. They were like, "Oh my God." Like, of course he fucking spotted us. I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What are you doing here?" They just wanted to come to La Rochelle. Just came to La Rochelle for the weekend to
I
watch some
love that.
rugby.
I love that. That's probably from listening to our podcast and you telling everybody how class it is to go see La Rochelle.
Well, I was saying that to you, I feel like a fucking ambassador for people coming to La Rochelle, for Irish people coming to La Rochelle, because I fucking went out and drinking with them then and was nursing a hangover then on Sunday. I was like, for fuck's sake, will people stop turning up to La Rochelle? But they're going to listen to the podcast because they know that I'm going to talk about it on the podcast. Because that's
Great.
why we ended up bringing you. Because I
Yes.
sent you a voice note describing it. And when I went to play it for him, I looked over my phone and it was like, calling Tom O'Mahony. That's the end of the story, basically, is how we ended up calling you when you were driving back from Derry.
Yes. Yeah. I guessed you left me a voice note to clear that up. You were like, you're probably in bed or something. Like, I've got 2.5 more fucking hours to drive in, so ring away. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just,
I couldn't hear you. If I had worked out that you were on the road still, I would have given you kind of a live update on the spot. But sure, look.
well, shout out to the three lads in the Munster jerseys. It brought me endless joy to see the elbow up in the air. Like, I love nothing better than a good lean. I've documented my favorite leans down through the years. I should do a full one actually of all my
That'll be up
favorite.
there with it.
That'd be right. That's easy. I'd say it'd be in the top four anyway of seated ones. But most of them are standing leans. But that'd be a seated lean that I really enjoy. Um, and when you see it, you know somebody's engaged in something heavily, and that's a great thing. Like if you had somebody, if you had a politician that sat across from you looking like that, you know they're giving it to you straight. Do you know the kind of way? There's vigor in that lean. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate a good lean.
Mm-hmm.
We better get on to the ruggers. So we've been nothing.
Well,
Anthropology made it in.
we've pretty much covered it, right?
Pretty much, we'll rip through it. They so yeah, we'll I suppose we'll start where we started, and it was, as I got to see yesterday, phenomenal. It looked like boys and men, but were France's, they look fairly fucking watery and fairly shook,
Mm.
were they?
Yep. I'd say that's probably a good enough description. Yeah, they were. They
Yeah,
were. Yeah. Now, not to take away from how well Ireland played, it's definitely a combo of the two.
yeah.
They have a lot of injuries as well, France. Like, it's not just Dupont, it's like they're missing
Intimac
a
is
lot.
gone as well. Like, so, I mean, he's class,
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, they're someone made the point then, and they're probably not wrong. I'd hate to be playing France next week.
yeah,
They'll
yeah,
probably
yeah,
turn around now and pull a performance for the ages out their arse.
yeah. Yeah, of course they will. That was actually something I was thinking. It was a podcast I was listening to, and they were just talking about France, and I think they were talking about the bounce back for Scotland, which we'll talk about. I was going, bounce back for Scotland? Are you fucking kidding me? What do you think France are going to do next week? Like, holy Jesus, after that, being embarrassed at home again. And
Yeah.
like, Ireland picked up their standard from what I saw. They were like, all right, we fucking got knocked out. They seem to not take the breakup as bad. They're back out there. I'm using single terms here now and dating terms, but they were back out there in the field just being cool. Meanwhile, France were still wearing her hoodie and crying, and just weren't over that World Cup at all. They were still they were still playing her CD, of Akon or whatever she left behind. They were,
But he liked my story. They're talking about DuPont. DuPont liked, a
yeah,
50s.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's like, oh, he's viewed our story, you guys. He's viewed our story. I think I know what that means. He's still in love with us. He wants to come back.
Oh, but no, we shouldn't take him back. We shouldn't take him back if that's the case because he walked out on us. Oh, God, I miss him. God, I miss him. It was well, I mean, there was more than anything, I think, and not to get excited by Ireland overly or anything, but I mean, Jesus Christ, the new crop look all right. They look
Yeah,
all right, don't they?
yeah, yeah.
Jesus. I
You
mean,
do.
I just love the steel of uh Jack Crowley. Like, couple of fucking it gets a block down, couple of gammy things early doors, and it's like, ah, he's and next thing he just bounced back and starts playing class. Like
Yeah.
their system must be so well oiled that
Mm.
a fella can be dropped in, let's be honest, can be dropped in at the start and look seamless. Not to say that Jack Crowley isn't class, but like Calvin, Calvin, you could just be able to just seamlessly drop lads in. Like there was talks of putting Gary
Mm.
Ringrose out in the wing because they were like, yeah, no, he knows the system. Do you
Yeah,
know? Like,
yeah,
it must be plug and play. In you go. You know what to do now. We told you. Now
yeah,
go do it. And everybody else will be doing it correctly around you.
yeah, yeah. I think you're not wrong there. It made me sad. Uh, it's
I know.
just
I know. I know.
thinking of sorry, and I'm not like, oh no, it made me sad because of really, really, the reflection of the World Cup is like, oh, Ireland are obviously shit because they can't get past the quarterfinal. It's obviously something, da da da. But like, there's a few different factors around why they didn't. But like, it made me sad because thinking of what's it called, like the Six Nations last year when Ireland beat France,
Yeah.
and like thinking of like how good the World Cup was gonna be, like not even winning or not even, but how good it was gonna be, and that was, we thought, and not out of nothing. It's not like we pulled this out of our arse and we're like, oh, we could get to the World Cup final. Like we actually were playing so well, and this actually reminded me of how good we actually are. And because after the World Cup, it's like, oh, we're obviously not as good as we thought, but we fucking are, and we
Yeah.
were last year as well.
We just got nipped by a very fired up New Zealand team who's, by the way, for anybody going, and it seems to be a conspiracy theory. I nearly got poo-pooed as a conspiracy theory one day talking about it. Two of their tries were forward fucking passes, and I'm not letting that one go. I'm just not. The final play of the match was illegal, didn't release the man. But anyway, but still, an extremely fired up All Blacks. Do you know what I mean? Like, we just got nipped by them. Like, we beat the people.
Oh
We actually won earlier in the tournament against the guys who fucking won the thing.
yeah,
So, you know, you'll be forgiven for having a bit of a hangover, but they just seem to pick up exactly where they left off. They were like, oh, you just looked like a refreshed version that beat South Africa. You look like the team that beat South Africa last year,
yeah, yeah,
even with new guys. And now they have this 120 kg 22-year-old who can fucking sidestep and goes for the extra yard every time in Joe McCarthy.
he was brilliant.
Wow. Now, nobody's bringing it up, but he'll have an unbelievable Six Nations. But there's always the second album. Do you know that happens to everybody? But because nobody had his number, nobody was gone because no team would have fucking studied him heavily. Not really. You wouldn't have studied him that heavily. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
my God, he'll come next week even. He might have fucking two or three Italians hanging off his face every time he gets the ball. Just to
yeah.
just to stop him, like, but
Who did with it?
oh Jesus Christ, he is like
Do you know what was brilliant to watch, and not just from Joe McCarthy point of view, but like, kind of a period there in the first half. Must have been first half. No, it must have been second half, kind of when France were getting a bit more into it, and there was the purple patch, shall we say.
yeah,
Uh they were loving their defense. Like the energy in their defense when they were like right on their line. They were loving it. Now, from what I could see and tell, and from my rugby days, like you can tell when people are enjoying defense that they were fucking like come on, move, move, move. Like there's a difference between panicky kind of gestures and panicky kind of movements and
Is
like
there
just
there's
like
nearly a bounce to it, isn't there? There's like a hit,
yeah,
bounce back up. You know what I mean? It looks rhythmic when they're
yeah,
really like they're really firing on all cylinders. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it was I really enjoyed watching that. It was like fuck, they're loving their defense.
I
That
read
was nice to watch.
an interesting insight that even when they were they were tipping France to do the business or whatever last week. I can't remember who wrote it, but they said you'd be surprised if you watch France clearly. Not that they play off scraps, but they force turnovers, and if they can't get
Mhm.
turnovers, they tend not to have a plan B. That's from what we've seen. But they should have that all tidied up and cleared up come this start of Six Nations. I was like, oh yeah, they got fuck all turnovers off Ireland. They got nothing off
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Nothing.
the tracks were huge. Yeah, yeah, fair play. No, we might as well enjoy it. I've no doubt that we could win a second Grand Slam. And the first team ever to win a back-to-back Grand Slams. I feel like it's very possible, but not to take away, not to be like have it as a given. I'm just excited to see can they just keep reproducing the same magic because I feel like they can.
Yeah, it doesn't seem unattainable stuff. It doesn't seem like that was pulled off the top shelf. It just looked like, oh, they're all in sync here, and we're only on the first fucking game. Because again, I heard that in the radio. I was like, yeah, but all the teams are going to get better. I'm like, yeah, you just said all the teams. Guess who else is going to get fucking better?
Yeah,
Like, um, so yeah, 38-17. That's a fucking hiding in France. Biggest ever, whatchamacallit. Peter O'Mahony seems to be actually more human when he talks now. I think he's less
yeah,
once he's still quite scary, but I don't think he's as scary as he was. He seems to be quite there seems to be a bit more heartfelt in him. If ever there was Daddy Peter, like you know what I mean, he is so built to be a captain, isn't he?
yeah,
Like his
yeah,
face walking out of the tunnel and everything. I was getting sent text messages from fucking mates or comedy clubs who were in the green rooms all watching the fucking match, and all of them took a picture of Peter O'Mahony, sending it to me. He was like, "You'd follow that man through a wall," like you know, just
yeah,
looks to the manner born, like just looks and comes with that fucking a great nasty edge, like because he'll be first in. But I don't know if you picked it up if you saw it. There's a clip going around of him talking to the ref, and
yeah,
he's been very articulate, but throws a big fucking in the middle of it.
yeah. I
I
know.
love it. I absolutely love it. He says, I
Yeah.
mean, we're just trying our best, to get the fucking ball back. But obviously we are progressing
He
politely.
said, we'll endeavor to
We'll
get the ball
endeavour.
back. Hilarious.
It's a big fucking stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah. But it's obviously well, he's playing well anyway, and I must admit I'm enjoying this side of him.
Yeah,
But it was obviously a kind of a conversation between himself, Farrell and Doris about, you know, Peter Manny probably won't play that many 80-minute games. So it'll be a case of handing over captaincy, for last 15, 20 minutes,
mm,
seeing how things go to Caelan Darce and letting that be how Caelan Darce grows into the captaincy. Maybe.
maybe.
I
Yeah,
I think that's what's happening.
I suppose a captain, as you know, I suppose has to be a nailed on starter. And I mean, between him and Tyke Byrne, I guess you wouldn't see Andrew Porter or any of the front row wanting it really. Like, but him and Tyke Byrne are probably the two nailed on starters, for sure. For shizzle, you know.
But he took over the captaincy the other night.
Yeah, yeah. Who did?
So Doris.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
Doris is a nailed on. He's nearly number one on your sheet, like, isn't he? He's like,
Yeah, but aside from that, even if there was a lot of because Peter Mahoney might not have had that status, or that could be, you'd have Doris's name on the sheet before you'd have Peter Mahoney's.
yeah,
So why would you pick Peter Mahoney as captain before Caelan Doris? Oh, because Caelan Doris is still growing into this role.
yes,
So
yeah.
nail down the two of them. In essentially that only leaves like one other space, but like considering how well Josh Van der Fleer is playing, there's
Yeah.
actually Rough, best of fucking luck getting into that back row, like.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because the if you were a back row wanted to come in, the place you'd go after is Peter Manny's
Yeah.
if he wasn't captain.
Yeah, what a fuck. But you know what? It's just like Sexton, even though Sexton in his twilight, like he wasn't doing as much, but his presence on the field takes everybody up a few percent. Like everybody said that. And you know it's the same with O'Mahony. Everybody comes up a notch or two when that fella's around. Like same with Munster, like when, came on for hadn't played with him all season and then came on and played in Toulon. Oh Jesus Christ, Daddy's here. And if everybody pulls their trousers up,
Yep.
he just has that percentage that he seems to put into people. Like there'd be a
Yeah.
confidence looking over at him too, going, yeah, class. Do you know?
Yeah.
Um, class game. The other two games so quickly, I suppose, 2017 with England, Italy.
Fuck it.
Oh my Jesus. Tommaso Allen, class. I don't know if you saw Tommaso Allen's try. It was the most Italian
Just the one
fucking.
where the birds flew
Oh
up out
my
of the
God. Oh my God. Like, where was Andrea Bocelli in that moment? Like, if somebody doesn't do that, slow it down. Just, yeah, just like these fucking birds took off after this incredible passage of play, and fucking your man just fucking plows through all these birds and scores his class drives. Like, yeah, this is pure Italy. This is gorgeous and way more entertaining to watch than England. Like, possibly up there with Ireland as the most entertaining game or team of the tournament so far.
Ah,
Just,
yeah, as long as they can reproduce that again. Like, come on, Italy, like, come on.
I
Mm.
know, and but never did they get a better year, really. Like, I mean, they're ticking well, and they have to look at themselves honestly and go, only for a couple of penalties. We had that. We fucking had that. Um, because
Yeah.
England were toothless. Do you know what I mean? They were fucking toothless. Like their wingers got him in a couple of times, like, but it was like it was fucking. I mean, I'd be
Yeah.
worried if I was an England fan. Do you know what I mean? Not saying that taking away from Italy, but let's be honest. When you see the physical size of some of the English lads up against the Italian lads, you're like, for fuck's sake, you should be
Mm.
wiping the floor, whatever. The size of those units that they have. But
Mm.
um, yeah, it was Tommaso. I knew I had to. Tommaso Allen's try. Oh my God! But they had a couple of amazing tries. Was
Yeah.
it Oh God, what's his name? He has a he has a like a Fijian name. It's not Antonio. He's their winger. He
I
got
don't know.
tackled. It's, it's not Ione, is it? Is it Ione?
Sorry, Ioane.
Ioane.
There's a Ioane playing for Italy.
Oh my God. Do you see, like, talk about home a beer. He gets tackled, bounces backwards out of the tackle, not held. Back up. And this is from the center. Decides, Ara, fuck it. And just goes out to the fucking wing and runs around everybody. You're
Was
like,
that was that in the second half?
yeah, yeah.
Fucking because the La Rochelle game was on, so I missed the second half.
Oh my God. It was just, I'd say they were in disbelief that this fucker was just ripping past him. Like, it was astronomical just to see how cool he just took the hit and kind of let his legs go backwards, bounce off the ground. No, not held, so didn't have to release the ball and gone. Fuck you. I'm off. No passing, no nothing. Just give me that fucking thing. And just
And
ripped
again,
around.
this is without our star player as well.
Yeah, Caripuccio.
So,
Excuse me. So yeah, 2017 England got a fucking way squeaky arse. Just about got out of Italy only with a couple of penalties to keep them to save their blushes. But I mean, fucking hell. Italy were class to look at, and we won't be able to give a proper barometer until the fucking end, let's be honest. But I would, geez, you'd pay to see Italy. You would not have paid to see what England were doing the other
no,
day.
I
Ford
have to go to
Ford back in at
Rome.
number 10. Jesus,
Oh,
like
yeah, oh,
yawn
stop.
fest, an absolute fucking yawn fest.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe, but I think going on kind of Twitter reactions and stuff, I think the English fans are kind of excited about what Borthwick has built.
Okay.
It's just so funny. They keep winning,
Yeah, that's
winning, you
that's
know?
it. Maybe just that's about. Maybe, look, I mean, it's the Resi Erasmus vibe, isn't it? It's like whatever it takes, just grand. If we get over by 1 point, so be it. If you can end up winning the thing. But
Mm.
look, we'll see how it pans out. But we can only go on the weekend. It was Scotland Wales, the maddest fucking game that has ever been in the Six Nations. I mean,
God.
game of two halves. If ever there was a game of two halves, I like Scotland. Every one of them should have to pull their trousers down and take a slap of a fucking hurley across their arse after that. That is the most bold boy. No, no, that is not how you fucking play rugby matches. Ye absolute fucking bollocks. Is 27 up at halftime. 27-0 up. Now, I don't know where Wales were at. They were fucking Jesus Christ, sure, they looked like fucking under 14s. But the second half to come out and give away 14 penalties and two yellow cards, Scotland left them back in to get to fucking 26 points. 26 points.
14 fucking penalties,
Huh?
like 14 fucking
Yeah.
penalties.
14 penalties. You shouldn't, once you go over the 12 mark in a half, in a full match, typically it means you've lost the fucking match. But it was only the luck of God that Wales were still inside in the hotel room, scratching their bollocks in the first half because they weren't there at all. Um, but Jesus, Mary and Joseph, like what?
Yeah, do Scott? I think it's Ireland Scotland in the final game.
Tis, yeah.
Could be a Grand Slam showdown.
Could be, could be. Um, who knows?
What a
Who
great
knows
game.
what the fuck Scotland were at? It was the most. Do you know what? It's the most Finn Russell carry on. Amazing, cool shit in the first half, and then just fell apart like wet paper in a fucking rainstorm, like in the second half. Just being bollocks. You know, class if you're a Wales fan, you're watching, you're gonna lose your mind for 40 fucking minutes. But both teams were in their own right for a half, absolute sacks of shit. Do you know? Like for Scotland to let that lead slip, go 26-0 down in the second half after going 27-0 up in like that's not professional top end fucking rugby. That's just not. Like, what are you at? I mean, like, were you all fucking getting your hair done for the fucking Netflix special for next year? Come on. Um,
I wonder what, yeah, what went on in terms of conversation. What to
a-
even say.
apparently, I saw the interview with Gatland afterwards, and he said, "Well, he says, look at, he says we were getting no change out of fucking running it, so uh, I just told him to kick it, and at least then we can drive him backwards." He said, and turned out that worked fine because they kept on giving away penalties because they were on the back foot. They had no answer for it. You're like, Jesus Christ, is that as simple? Like at 1.2, there's a fucking rule. Oh, it's a horrible rule. Um, do you know the 5 meter? You catch the ball, and it's not you catch the ball, but
Oh
you
no,
you
yeah.
move you move 5 meters forward, and everybody's on side. But if you don't, everybody's offside. So you kind of got to come to a stop.
That
They did.
is stupid.
It's
I've
it's
been
horrible.
watching it's only I've been watching that being like, what's going on? Because I wasn't made aware of this until what I think it was a top 14 game
They did
and
it in the
everyone just
Premiership over 14 kicks last week or
maybe
the week before. Somebody did it.
and they just stood. But then all of a sudden someone starts running. I'm like, hey, is he on side? What's going on there? So yeah, it was explained to me. Well, I know, sorry, I presume everyone has presumes why you're talking about it as well, the Bernard Jackman
Yeah,
explanation of
yeah, yeah.
which is
Who
very
better
good as
to
always.
explain it? Like, but it's terrible for the game. It looks brutal. Like if you're trying to draw people in, and that's a rule that's pure snooker stuff. That is, it's like, oh
Hmm.
come on, play rugby for fuck's sake. There's a reason why they introduced things like the 50-22s to keep things hot and scoring tries.
It's
Like
just annoying that players cotton onto it. Or sorry, coaches cotton onto it and are like, right, this is what we're going to do.
it's so
Like,
negative.
yeah, it's like, okay, we want to win at any cost. So let's just do this. Like, I don't know. You wouldn't, you wouldn't catch Ireland doing something like that.
I wouldn't. I There seems to be for me. It's very un Andy Farrell to allow that. I'd say now he'd fuck 'em all roads for that kind of carry on going, are we here to play rugby or what? Jesus Christ. Do you know,
But
he's not even a fan of it being kicked out at the end. He wants him to play, 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 because people spend hard-earned money to come and see this shit. Don't be putting that fucking carry on, like.
yeah,
Um,
which I'd prefer than any other carry on. You
yes.
know, if it means winning at all costs and losing like the excitement of the game or yeah, the entertainment of the game, no, I'd prefer the way Andy Farrell does it. And most teams, to be fair, this isn't like everyone has cottoned
No,
onto
it's
it
not
and
an
now they're
no,
doing
it's not an epidemic. And to be fair, it's I think rugby doesn't really do that kind of stuff. Like there's very little diving or anything. Like, there's none of that shit really goes on. It's more like, well, where's your integrity at? Like, you'd sooner go out on your shield rather than being a fucking pair of wet knickers just fucking arsing around the place doing stuff like that. But um, so yeah, up next, Scotland play France. That'll be fucking interesting.
yeah,
England have Wales. Again, super interesting. And Ireland play Italy on the Sunday. Long turnaround for Ireland, which is never unheard of. They have a 9 day turnaround or something, I think. 8 or 9
yeah,
day turnaround, which is
yeah.
unheard of. So they should be as fresh as daisies. Hope to see maybe somebody like Craig Casey start. Um, we don't do predictions because who fucking knows? It's going to be who fucking knows? It's going to be fair interesting.
Yeah.
Um, news too. Jesus, yeah.
Mm.
So Felix Jones, what do you make of seeing Felix Jones walking around the place in a an England jersey?
I actually screenshotted it
Did
so
ya?
to send you to be like, God, this is so weird. Like, although I knew it had happened, I just when I saw it, I was like, ah.
Yeah, yeah, it
Um,
is. It was a wet cloth to the face. I'll tell you an even madder one that I only saw today when I opened up my phone.
so
Jerry
funny.
Flannery in a Springboks fucking t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
it.
they've recruited all sorts. They've got Jakob Piper working for him now.
I know, yeah. This is Razzie. Someone tweeted being like, another 4 year of chaos like
Yeah,
begins.
yeah,
And it's like fucking damn right with that fella, like with Razzie. He just fucking you know. I just love it. I love to be in the meetings. But it's just funny that he's lost Felix now as well. Like I'm sure he wasn't too keen on letting Felix go, but
no, but he brought in like he's he literally went, "Who's next on the phone? Oh, who did I text last under Felix? Jerry." I mean, Jesus, fair play to him. And he put, I think Dwayne Vermeulen, he brought him back in. He's going working as well for him. So,
yeah.
um, one other big game of the weekend. Obviously the 20s won a fucking barnstormer, got their revenge from last year's World Cup.
Yeah.
Um, but Munster beat the Crusaders. Munster are the world champions of club rugby now. I don't know if you know that, but they're the greatest team in the world because Munster beat the Crusaders in front of 41,000 in Páirc Uí Chaoimh at the weekend. How class
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah. Class. It's funny, there wasn't too much about it.
There wasn't. No, oh, sure, I saw a bit of poo-pooing going on. Oh, yeah. Great. Yeah. Great sides. All right. I'm assuming you're talking about the side that, have won the. I was like, oh, relax. Relax, will you? Relax. It was a
Mm.
cool match to put on. Watching Lee
Yeah.
Halfpenny doing a haka is cool anyway. But for a rake of lads that, you know, will they get to play in front of 41,000? And in an absolute nail biter to the very end, the miss kick ended up them winning it. What was it, 21-19 or something? They ended up winning it because of a misconversion at the very end. Class. Fucking class. More of it.
Yeah. I love that.
And in good news, Thomas Ahern and RG Snyman, just a little sneaky news, they're back training fully today.
I actually when I saw the picture of RG Snyman, like and all the the kerfuffle about him moving to Leinster, I actually forgot he was still at Munster.
Yeah, he's
When I
still
saw
got
it, I
a
was like,
job to do.
oh yeah.
He's still got a job to do and could it could be very interesting when if he can get up fit and run and stay running and have some fucking legs under him.
Did you hear do you know how his name is actually said in Afrikaans?
Is it Agre? Agre.
Archia.
What?
Archia.
Achia.
Yeah.
So it's not orgy, which does sound a bit dirty. It does sound a bit dirty when it's said out loud, doesn't it?
So
Orgy.
funny, everyone calling him RG, like not even But like we got BJ from South
I
Africa as well.
know,
Like oh
I know, I know.
yeah,
BJ, come on.
Orgy and BJ.
The only thing is, like, it's like that song by Johnny Cash, A Boy Named Sue. You know what I mean? You're going to grow up tough.
Oh well, yes.
You know, if your name is BJ and but then you look like something out of a Marvel fucking comic, you're such a tank. And then the other guy looks like he's out of fucking DC universe. You're like, okay, all right. I'll To the day I die, I'll never forget. There was these two muscly blokes one time. It was like a midweek. I was in Kildare village buying nothing. Because I don't know what we were doing there, but I saw these two lads, and I don't know their nationality, but who knows anymore? Because everybody dressed in this outlandish gear, snow white teeth, the Gucci fucking slash, whatever, Yves Saint Laurent fucking man bags around their waist, and they fucking jacked, right? Two jacked bastards in their t-shirts, skinny legs under them, all shoulders and arms, tits and teeth all over the place, and they're walking. These fellas are strutting like they're. And I'm looking at it going, what the fuck? And I'm sipping away my coffee, and rounding the corner was BJ Botha, just retired rugby player, BJ Botha. And he didn't really see him. Well, fuck me to watch the Red Sea of these two lads part when they saw what an actual fucking animal looks like. Like, you can't get those forearms in the gym. Do you know, this guy is built from a different breed of human. And,
Yeah.
and he kind of looked up in an apologetic way, like it was two children he was after hitting into. Do you know, oh, sorry, guys. You just see the lads completely deflate and just walk back to their car after that. It was a brilliant moment just to see, so this is what happens when all your creatine doesn't pay off because you meet fucking this absolute monster who was retired at this stage. But yeah, BJ, what a name. I wonder if it
Yeah.
ever came up. Of course it did. Of course it did. In Munster it would have for sure. And he probably just owned it and went, yeah, I'm the king.
Yeah.
I'm the king of
Definitely.
it. I'm the king of that carry on, lads, and that's why I have the name.
Yeah.
Uh, So we
Yeah.
have, yeah. So we have
He's well
another.
equipped
We've
with the comeback.
we have some club rugby, but sure, look, do you know what? I enjoy the newsy bit as well. I'm going to dig out some more news because they everybody watched the match, but I think I'll dig out some more news during the week, so you can find some juicy stuff. And those are the matches we have coming up next weekend. We will, of course. But I hope to be in better health myself, and hopefully, will Joe McCarthy be back again next week, or whoever Annie will choose to be next week. May them fucking pigeons or whatever was in Italy stay the fuck out of the Aviva at the weekend. And while I do love seeing Italy running around the place looking class, yeah, a big fucking hefty bowl of porridge or something in the morning now for them poors and slow them down a small bit. Um, just because we'd love to win another Grand Slam, that'd be great.
Oh, we'll see. May I do the sign off
Yes, absolutely.
today? Just and not to bring down the tone, but I just feel like I can't talk about rugby, and at the moment it's a very, very sad day because our wonderful, wonderful club supporter at UL Bows, John Keane, one of our best friends and best supporters over the years in UL Bows women's rugby team, very sadly passed away this week. So I've been thinking of him and the girls and the team, and sadly couldn't get home for the funeral, but just want to dedicate this podcast to him because he feckin' loved talking shite about rugby.
Class.
And he was just talk about someone who just lived his days to the full. He used to come on us with trips. Oh, he'd be singing and dancing, and like in all our photos, we were all sharing photos like of the best rugby, some of my best rugby days. Like he's in all the photos. He was on all the trips, and he was always there looking out for us and looking after us, and he loved UL Bows so much. And the UL Bows girls won the AIL Cup, not the league, but the cup last week, and he was there, and
Oh, class.
he used to give out a player of the match award every week. He bought I'm not sure, tons of mugs with UL Bows Robin on it. I've a few of them at home now. Very lucky to say. And he'd give a player of the match award after every game, and he was only there last week giving out the player of the match award, and so it would have meant a lot to him. So just want to dedicate this podcast to him because he's just one of the biggest rugby legends I'll ever meet, one of our best friends, and we absolutely love him and we will miss him so much, John Keane. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't throw out a podcast without mentioning our absolute hero and best friend.
Sounds like an absolute rarity. One of those humans that only comes along once in a lifetime kind of people. Just so yeah, an absolute dedication and rest in peace, John Keane. This has been our podcast, and look at you know what to do. Keep sharing, keep being class. If you want to comment on anything, please do. You can do it under the. Some people write underneath the YouTube. Feel free to write underneath our posts on either Twitter or Instagram, whichever you want. You'll see it in your stories. You feel free to grab it and share it yourselves. Till next week. Anna, I'm off the sweeties. That's it.
Oh yeah, okay. Best of luck with that.
I like the way you're not joining me in any way.
Sure, I didn't even know.
Well, you know now.
I was going to say I give up pancakes, but sure, I haven't even had one yet, so I can't give them up.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Give up maybe being so feckin' popular around La Rochelle, or at least make a career out of it. Do you know what you need? You need a selfie stick, walking around the place and documenting all of this for us.
Battering people over the head with it. I know.
Right.
I'll think about it.
Ihoa.
Good luck.
It's the Banana and Bear